Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and thank the ranking member for this hearing and the witness. Thank you very much for being here. Madam Chair, before I begin my questions, I'd like to submit into the hearing record a letter signed by Family Farm Defenders, Food and Water Watch, Institute for Agriculture and Trade and Policy, and Union of Concerned Scientists.
So ordered.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair. The ESG disclosures are a market-driven initiative to increase investor education and corporate transparency. Information from ESG disclosures will help investors gain greater insight into what companies are doing to reduce carbon footprints and to address important issues like climate change, diversity, and labor rights. Investors understand that ESG issues are material and need to be accounted for when assessing market opportunities. And again, these are the investors. I mean, investors are smart people, and I think that's why, 77% of the large Fortune 500 companies now have ESG disclosures, because investors want to know this information. And I think what you guys are attempting to do here is very appropriate. It's been a long process because there's been a lot of comments, and there should be, to try to figure out, how do you measure this? Is a very complicated issue. There's no doubt about that. But this is very important. But again, it's investors. And why? Investors read the headlines. Do you read the headlines, Mr. Gerding?
Yes, I do. Congressman, I read the Wall Street Journal every day.
Yeah. I mean, the headlines recently have been screaming about climate disasters. I just talked to someone from Phoenix who said, it's 118 degrees, but not that it hasn't been that hot before, but it's never been that consistently hot. It's been hot like that now for a long time. I mean, you take a look at what happened up in Vermont. You take a look at what's happening around the world, Europe right now. I mean, these climate disasters cost money. You take a look at what insurance companies are doing in Florida and California, because again, climate change. Investors take a look at this. Investors believe this is material. And of course it's material. It costs billions and billions of dollars. So of course it's material. Do you think it's material?
I'm sorry, Congressman.
Do you think that the issue of climate is material? Do you think investors are correct about that?
Congressman, as part of the proposing the climate risk disclosure proposal, my division, as part of our recommendation to the commission, my division was aware of and cited a large number of investors who expressed a desire for the types of information that are in that climate risk proposal. And that information, as you note, is about helping those investors make choices, not the commission, but those investors make decisions with required disclosure about their investment and voting choices.
Yeah, sometimes when I'm up here listening, it sounds like there's some accusations that you guys are doing this for yourselves, somehow for the commission. No, it's for the investors. Investors want to know, and especially savvy investors, because they do see what's coming up, and unfortunately, the scientists that we read, and certainly I think that most commonly speak about this, say there's going to be more of this. So of course investors, savvy investors, want to know this information to make sure that they're not going to invest in a company that's very short-sighted. They want a company that's going to be around for a long time because they manage these risks. They understand the risks of climate change and climate disaster. And again, I think you guys are on the right track. There is the question of, do you take a look at the comments that people make? There's so many of them. I believe you do. Isn't that correct? I mean, you take a look at these comments. And by the way, the number of them are interesting because now digitally you can do anything. I mean, when they move $42 billion out of a bank in one day, the world has changed. The reality is, because of the digitalization, things move quickly. But do you take a look at these comments and do you take them seriously?
Absolutely, Congressman. We carefully read each comment. We take the comment process extremely seriously, whether they're comments supporting or opposing or expressing concerns with a particular proposal. And that is part of our duties under the Administrative Procedures Act. It's also what makes for better policy and better rules.
Well, again, I thank you for being here. I thank the chair for holding this hearing and the ranking member, and I yield my time back.